Hello, fam, and welcome back to another edition of George's Corner. I'm your host, George Lee Jones. I'm going to jump right in today. This has been something that I've had a couple of conversations with over the last couple of weeks. I really wasn't going to touch it, but decided that today will be the day since we're going into spring and most people say love is in the air. So we're going to talk about relationships. Now, I don't care if you're straight, gay, or otherwise. The one thing that I've listened to and heard over the past couple of weeks in conversations is some of the complexities and difficulties that surround being in a relationship. The one thing that I gathered through listening to people talk about their good times, their bad times, is that when we decide to choose a person as our mate, uh, girlfriend, wife, husband, or other, we take on not only the attributes or the strengths of that individual, but we also take on the deficits and the weaknesses. And what I've discovered is that you have to be very cognizantly aware that, fine is not the only criteria when you're looking for an individual. You can't just aesthetically say, oh, she's beautiful, he's beautiful, that's what I'm looking for, or he makes me laugh, or she makes me smile. You have to think about, in life, each and every one of us goes through our trials and tribulations. And sometimes when we choose that particular person to walk this, however long it is, time with us, we take on their life lessons. For example, let's say, for instance, you've gone through hardships in your life and you know how to weather storms. But you hook up with somebody who's never been through anything. Uh, let's just say that they've always been handed everything, silver plate, silver spoon, as it were, and they never had any complexities or difficulties in their life. Now, when they get to a place, and we all do, where we have to learn the lesson of how to um, endure or triumph through certain obstacles in life, then if you're with that person at that time, you're going through it with them as well. Whether you want to believe that or not, it's up to you. Now, the strength of the relationship is a lot of times based on those hardships you go through. You've heard the term ride or die chick. Well, it's ride or die guy. So if you're not able to weather the storm with a person when they're going through rough times, why the heck would they need you in good times? So you got to keep these things in mind when you're talking about, I love that person, I want to be with that person. Oh, and let me not forget, I had a conversation with some guys that I worked with, and I used to notice that there was a trend. At the end of each day, they would go, oh man, I got to get to happy hour. Or I got to go have that drink before I get home. And so I would ask, well, why is that? Aren't you excited to get home to that girlfriend or that spouse? And they would say, well, I know I'm going to go home to all kinds of arguments, or I'm going to hear about her day or his day, and I don't feel like going through that. And so my question was, well, if you hooked up with this person, why are you with this person if they cause you grief at the end of each of your day? And they just sort of looked at me and said, well, George, you always try to go so deep with your conversations. I was like, again, no, it's not going deep. It's just trying to understand the complexities of life through simplistic lenses. So I asked them again. I said, well, do you love the person you're with? And of course, unanimously, everyone says, oh, yeah, of course, I love that person. And that's when I asked the difficult question. I said, okay, you guys and you ladies all love the person you're with. Do you like that individual? And that's when I got a long pause. And I learned something there. We all, in relationships, can say we love each other, but how many of us can say we actually like the person that we're with? Now, the like part is what keeps you going in that relationship. Because I know lots of people, I have relatives that I love, really can't stand to be around. So when you're thinking about your relationship, not only do you have to love that person, but you got to like who that person is. Otherwise, you're not going to get too far in your relationship or whatever it is you say you're doing with one another. And that's why I say, you always have to keep in mind those 3 C's. And I think I've said that to you earlier before, is consideration, cooperation, communication. Again, consideration, cooperation, communication. You got to have those things. Talk to each other. Because I've talked to people who said, well, I was in that relationship 3 years too long. And I understand that because sometimes we stay too long because of fear of what's out there. But think about this. The term life is too short. It really is. Think about how fast your weeks and your months go on. And when you can make a statement that you've been with this individual 3 years too long, now I'm not advocating getting out of relationships. I'm really a progressive thinking person saying work through your issues with that person. Because if you don't work through your issues with that individual, the next person you end up with, you're going to have similar or same situations and issues to work through. And it's just going to be repeating that cycle over and over again until you figure out, hey, I'm going to have to work through this with this individual, or I'm going to go through it again with someone else. Now, each individual has different situations you're going to go through, but take responsibility for your part and your role in the relationship. Okay? I don't have a whole lot more to say about this, but it was something that kept coming up in conversations with people I was talking to about their relationships. And it just made me think about not only do you have to, not have to, but not only is love required, but I think the real glue that keeps a lot of relationships going is, do you like the individual that you're dealing with? Just something to think about, fam. It's been on my mind. I didn't really want to talk about it, but I'm sensing that there are some people out there who may need to hear this. Again, it's just my opinion. I have no authority, especially on your relationship, because I'm trying to walk through this earth and figure out my own relationships. But I think this is good food for thought for each and every one of us to just have something to think about, especially when we are upset with the person that we're with. Take a step back. Realize your role and your part that you play, and understand that we grow at different times and places. Maybe you're strong in areas that person's weak. That's sometimes the reason you're with that person, is to help them grow. Sometimes you're weak. Yeah, you're weak. And you need to be with someone who has the strength that you need. So don't always look at it from the perspective of what is that person I'm dealing with doing or not doing, but turn the mirror on yourself, take responsibility, and ask yourself, am I in this relationship for the long haul? Am I willing to give it the work that it needs? Or I'm a fly-by-night individual that's just here for the good times, and when the rainy days come, I run off? Because I'll tell you this, if you can't weather a storm, you have no business being around anybody during the sunny days, because all you're going to be is a hindrance to them when those hard times come. So please be considerate of others and think about when you're in that relationship, why you're in the relationship, what do you want to get out of that relationship. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say is this, because it came to me while talking with these people, is whatever you're doing in your life, if it's not enhancing or progressing your goal, then walk away from it. Because then all you're doing is wasting your time. Again, I'll repeat that one more time because it's worth being said. If whatever you're involved in, if whatever you're doing is not enhancing your life, it's only detracting and taking away from your life. And trust me, none of us have that much time to waste. Again, not going to take any more of your time. I've taken enough of it. I'm George Lee Jones. Again, be great to yourself, be kind to others, and always, always be learning something new. Until next time, God bless you, fam. I'm George. Look forward to talking with you again real soon. Take care, and bye-bye.